Hello and thanks for joining us on NTA International News. At this time, I am Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. Federal government justifies rationale behind borrowing from foreign countries as Information Minister inspects rail projects. IGP orders nationwide clampdown on proliferation of prohibited firearms. And correspondent takes a look at environmental effects of illegal refining on communities. Now details, and Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the federal government has justified the rationale behind its borrowing from foreign countries. The minister stated this shortly after inspecting the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail project. Anthony Forson reports.
The Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, who was accompanied by his counterpart, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, began their inspection journey to Ibadan from Ebute Meta Station building yard under construction. The Transportation Minister, after interacting with the contractors handling the project, urged them to speed up the job and proceeded to Apapa Dockyard Station, which has been added to the Lagos-Ibadan project as a means of finding a lasting solution to the perennial gridlock that has characterized the area. With 10 passenger stations on the route, Ebute Meta Mega Station, yet to be completed, will have a holding passenger capacity of 6,000 per day. Other stations along the route all have a passenger holding capacity of between 1,005 and 2,000 and are all at various stages of completion, except for the COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused work to slow down.
For those of you who have been following us, you know that for every station, we had 150 to 200 workers. But now you have 10, 20 workers. What we agree with them is to increase the number of workers and manage COVID very well. And what did we agree with them? They should come with their face mask, face shield, and come to work. Because like we also agree with them, it appears, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, that COVID has come to stay. And government has to run. We have to deliver our promises to the people because that's why we're elected, and that we don't have time. If we just sit in our houses waiting for COVID to end, it may end 2023. So let's hope that by January this thing will be ready.
This notwithstanding, train services on that axis will commence soon.
We will start by middle of September from Yaba to Ibadan, while the other construction finishing will continue. Hopefully by January we will be full-blown.
For Lai Mohammed, the federal government has justified all loans it has collected so far.
We didn't borrow money for services. We did not borrow money for overhead expenditures. We borrowed money for capital projects, rails, roads, bridges, power, generally infrastructure. And this is the first, this administration, of the series of inspections we are going to take along with you so that you can better enlighten Nigerians that there's nothing bad in borrowing, provided that borrowing is invested in infrastructure. There's nothing bad in borrowing, especially when that borrowing is going to create jobs. We're going to create an enabling environment for the economy.
For now, the Lagos-Ibadan route will start with 24 coaches, one set of diesel multiple unit of 8 coaches, and 2 motor cars for 16 trips a day. 10 coaches for Itakwe to Warri, 4 trips a day. There will also be additional 10 coaches and 1 set of DMU for Abuja Kaduna services. This will move its trip up from 8 to 16 per day. In Ibadan, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, business interests have started to spring up around several train stations along the Lagos-Abeokuta-Ibadan corridor, and the people are eagerly awaiting the rail project completion, as Dotun Ogunyemi reports.
The desire for an efficient intermodal means of transportation is gradually shaping up as the Lagos-Ibadan Railway is set to commence operations in October. Ifeanyi is a trader at the popular Tejuosho market. The rail line doesn't only connect with the area where he does business, but brings with it a new lease of life.
Because this government has tried a lot in terms of transportation and everything. Because within railway now, we are able to go anywhere we want to go.
Everybody enjoying this work because Agbado is very poor before. If this work come, so everything they okay.
Akeem is one of the rail workers. The experience has not only developed his capacity, but provided meaningful income that sustains him and his family.
Many of us will have handwork. If there's project like this, most of the youth will enjoy, they will benefit. Criminality and terrorism will stop in the country if there's project like this.
Without the project, some of us will have not been able to feed.
Aside passenger service, cargo delivery would also be improved.
We are moving about 300,000 tons, metric tons of cargo between Lagos and the Kano.
Industries like this one, brewing in the horizon, have also been impacted as demand for components like cement, iron, wood, aluminium, glass and tiles has increased.
Let's turn our attention to agriculture now, and the federal government has rolled out a new method of production, processing and export of sesame and hibiscus. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammad Sabo Nanono, made this known while interacting with state government officials. Let's get more from Musa Baba Aliu.
Nigeria is ranked among the world's largest producers of hibiscus and sesame, though the country is yet to make a significant impact in the global business of the produce. Hibiscus is on high demand, while the business of buying and selling of the herb is fast booming in the country. However, packaging, storage and processing before export have been major challenges. Consequently, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Muhammad Sabo Nanono says as Nigeria seeks for ways to improve our economy, attention will be given to production and export of cash crops. The Model Center for the Production, Processing and Marketing of Hibiscus and Sesame are to be established in Jigawa and Nasarawa states.
And the same thing in sesame seed production. We have taken over being #1 in sesame production, as well as hibiscus flower production. And we are working tirelessly to see that we boost also the production of groundnut in the state. Those are crops those crops we have comparative advantage on, and we are pushing very hard to produce them massively and to increase our competitive advantage in producing them.
Last year, Nigeria exported hibiscus and its byproducts to Europe, Asia and Mexico worth more than $22 million. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, it has destroyed many lives, wrecked many communities, and rendered waste the flora of rivers and coastal fauna. It is the infamous illustration of private gains versus public pains. It is called KPO fire. Onengie Fineface will guide us in the darkness or the dark secrets of this environmental genocide in the Niger Delta.
Driving through the serene rivers of the Niger Delta, you get a sense of close proximity with the oil resource of the region. You see barges made of wood and metal, then thick layers of hydrocarbon on the surface of the water. Vast swamplands laid barren by molds of petroleum products, and a network of rubber pipes confirm the suspicion that fire is brewing nearby. Fire is the popular name for illegally refined petroleum products in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. Our typical fire camp is a criminal haven. Operators live in shanties on camp with supply of food as they cook stolen crude. Evidence of activities replete with recently cooked products and preparations for dinner. The camp is dotted with metal tanks, a network of pipes, spilled crude, refined and waste products, and an assortment of mechanical odds and ends.
Artisanal refining poses serious threat not only to the health of the community, to the environment, but also to the economy of the nation, because huge amounts of crude are being spilled unaccounted for, and this is something that we need to halt immediately.
I'll call it illegal refining. Bullfire, as it's called in that area, is devastating the Niger Delta region. I call it ecocide. They are committing ecocide on their own land, and this is part of the degradation we're having with the mangroves. That is why we have to restore our mangroves to protect the coastal areas of Nigeria.
Products from the camp are loaded into barges for onward distribution. And from this site, hydrocarbon pollution spreads to coastal communities miles away, leaving trails of contamination and death of mangroves and aquatic lives.
And so even if you start the process of cleanup, the UNEP report also provides for those who are involved in these activities. So to arrest that situation is to make sure that those who are involved in all those activities are brought into a pool where alternative sources of livelihood will be provided.
But this camp in Alakore, River State, is just one of countless others hidden deep in the creeks of the Niger Delta. Onengi.
Now joining us via Zoom from Port Harcourt to shed more light on the environmental problem is an environmental rights activist in person of Celestine Akpobari. Thanks for joining us on NTA International.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
All right, in your environmental advocacy, what specific effects would you say illegal refining has on the environment?
Well, I can just use one word: devastating. Devastating. I've always said that everything about a man is tied to his environment. We want to destroy the man, destroy his environment. We want to destroy the animal, destroy his forest, his habitat. We want to destroy the species, just remove the mangrove forest, destroy the river. And so everything that touches the environment is a disaster to the whole of mankind. Unfortunately, the environment is what we pay on a lip service, to. The government is the worst culprit in this alliance with the oil companies, because they go to bed together in corruption, in devastation, in punishing the people, and all whatnot.
All right. How would you say does illegal refining or KPO fire impact on the ongoing cleanup efforts in Ogoni land, which is meant to be a model for cleanup of other polluted sites in the Niger Delta region?
Yeah, it has very serious impact. In fact, field trip with the present Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Amina Mohammed, when she was the Environment Minister here. Our question every day, everywhere we go to, was always, we, Ogoni and the Niger Delta remain clean the morning after the cleanup. And she was referring to the activities of seasonal refiners, whenever she made that statement. The fear is that even if artisanal refining is not happening in Ogoni, where the cleanup is currently going on, Ogoni is not that island. Ogoni is linked up with Okereka, linked up with Boni, linked up with Andoni. So the whole of the Niger Delta belt. So I think that people like my honorable talked about provision in April budget to take care. They just $10 million in that budget. We are talking about a calamity. I would have thought that by now that the state of emergency, have been declared in the Niger Delta. I know that these activities are bad. I've gone through the Niger Delta severally. They are terrible. They are major. But what is happening within that corridor is just less than 1% compared to what is happening. The oil company operators, the federal government collaborators with the oil company operators just allow the little thing to filter in to cover up their track.
All right.
There is massive stealing of crude oil in Nigeria by the oil industry operators, the security operatives, or ever. So they allow only this one to cover up their referral. If they want fire to stop tomorrow morning, my brother, they will stop it.
All right.
It will stop, but they are allowing it because if they don't allow it, they can't cover their tracks.
All right. Can you, just before I let you go, can you speak on the option of modular refineries as a solution to illegal refining?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good one. When the vice president came to do a flag off for the organic cleanup on June 2016, he said that both the economy and the environment of Ogoni were devastated. And he said that they were making plans to provide modular refineries that will accommodate these guys. But up till now, I don't know. If I have not seen like the transport sector working and several things working, I will say that this government says one thing and they go on to do another. But, you know, since he left, up till now, nothing has happened. And I'm sure that if they provide, like in Ogoni now, if they have like 2 modular refineries and also scatter them around other Niger Delta communities, and these boys are engaged in, I don't think any person would be that stupid or mad to come and destroy his own means of livelihood. But seriously, our people are dying. Because when the environment dies, the people are dead.
All right, we certainly...
If common foams from fuel will kill people, imagine what we inhale every day and every second.
Yeah. All right, Celestine Akpogbari, environmental rights activist. Betty, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on NTA International News.
Thank you.
All right, on to other news now. And as part of preparations towards curtailing violence in the forthcoming governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states, as well as in full efforts by the Police High Command to curb the proliferation of prohibited firearms in the country, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered commissioners of police in the 36 states and the FCT to immediately initiate appropriate action to identify, arrest, and prosecute any individuals or groups in possession of prohibited firearms. Force Public Relations Officer Frank Mba, in a statement, says the directive has become necessary against the backdrop of the deliberate arming and movements of political thugs and other criminal elements across the country. The directive is also targeted at addressing the proliferation and unlawful possession of prohibited firearms in the country, contrary to the provisions of the 2004 Firearms Act. The IGP further directs commissioners of police to immediately convene meeting of all vigilante groups and other quasi-security outfits spread across the country and ensure that their activities are in conformity with the extant laws guiding their establishments and operations. He enjoined citizens to cooperate with the police in the enforcement of this order, as it is aimed at ensuring safety of lives and property in the country. You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. We'll take a break now. More stories when we return. Please stay tuned.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
All right, thanks for staying with us. World Health Organization reports highest 24-hour global increase in coronavirus cases as South Africa says pandemic appears to have reached the peak in that country. Joyce Ometu has a review of the health crisis in the past week.
The World Health Organization said more than 294,000 people tested positive for COVID-19 in 24 hours. The agency noted that this is the highest daily increase so far. As cases continue to rise, other countries that had contained initial outbreaks are now reporting a resurgence. However, Nigeria is seeing a steady decreasing trend in the number of new coronavirus cases recorded daily. Latest statistics released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control reveal that Nigeria has 48,770 cases, 36,290 treated and discharged, while 974 fatalities are recorded. A review of daily reports by the NCDC show a cumulative sum of 3,246 patients were discharged from various isolation centers across the country. Unfortunately, 32 new fatalities were recorded as opposed to the 59 registered in the preceding week. In Africa, a total of 1,113,806 cases have been recorded, 25,394 fatalities and 829,183 recoveries. In the meantime, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa said coronavirus infections appear to have peaked in his country, announcing a relaxation of lockdown measures starting from Monday, 17 August 2020. In France, the employment minister on Sunday said that the country is set to announce new measures to stem the resurgence of COVID-19. Now, this is coming as the country reported 3,000 new cases in 24 hours. Worldwide, numbers by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. Nigeria time show that the virus has killed 770,513 persons and infected 21,699,238. The number of infections globally increased by more than 1.8 million, while more than 39 fatalities were recorded in the past week. And that's it from here. I am Joyce Ometu.
Thank you, Joyce. Now, another 68 stranded Nigerian girls in Lebanon arrived the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Sunday via Middle East Airline. Recall the viral video where some girls cried out to the Nigerian government to facilitate their return. The evacuation was made possible through the collaboration of the Lebanese ambassador to Nigeria, the Nigerian mission in Lebanon, and the Lebanese community in Nigeria. The National Emergency Management Agency was in charge of logistics. The girls will proceed on a 14-day self-isolation as mandated by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. President Muhammadu Buhari has sent warm felicitations to former military President General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida on his 79th birthday. He joins family, friends, and associates to celebrate with the elder statesman. The president believes his services to the country will always be remembered and prays that the Almighty God will continue to strengthen General Babangida, grant him good health and longer life. And President Muhammadu Buhari has extended heartfelt condolences to the family, government and people of Adamawa State on the passing of Ambassador Wilberforce Juta, second civilian governor of Old Gongola State. The president also commiserates with the People's Democratic Party on the demise of one of her founding fathers who served the country with dedication as High Commissioner to Zimbabwe at the return to civilian rule in 1999. He affirms that Ambassador Juta was very passionate about the development and stability of the country and never took for granted the need to promote peace, harmony and religious freedom. President Buhari prays for the repose of the soul of the departed patriots. And President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates former Minister for Commerce and Industry, Senator Jubril Martins Kuye, on his 80th birthday. The president joins family, members, friends and political associates in celebrating the milestone heralded by many years of dedicated service to the nation and humanity, both as minister and legislator. He commends Senator Kuye's consistency in calling for the strengthening of democratic values and promoting good governance that caters for all citizens, especially the less privileged. A statement by the presidential media advisor, Femi Adesina, praised that the Almighty God will grant Senator Kuye, who is the Asiwaju of Agoiwoye, good health and longer life. European Football Championships in semi-final stage as Amanzi Marcus reports on Sports Updates.
All is set for the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League in Lisbon, Portugal, as Sunday and Monday are observed as rest days. On Tuesday is RB Leipzig against Paris Saint-Germain, with Lyon taking on Bayern Munich on Wednesday. Meanwhile, in Germany, Inter Milan faces Shakhtar Donetsk in the second semi-finals of the Europa League on Monday. The coronavirus pandemic is still taking its toll on sports, as world number 8 Belinda Bencic has joined the growing list of players opting out of the August 31 to September 13 US Open. I have made the difficult decision to skip the US swing in New York and will return to the tour starting in Rome next month, she revealed. The Swiss, who reached the semi-finals of the 2019 US Open, is the latest top 10 in the WTA to skip the major, following that of Ukraine's Elina Svitolina, Canada's Bianca Andreescu, Australia's Ashley Barty, and Dutchwoman Kiki Bertens. In boxing, Cecilia Brækhus, the Norwegian boxing great, suffered the first defeat of her professional career, losing her WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO welterweight titles in a majority decision to challenger Jessica McCaskill. The Norwegian, who turned professional in 2007, used her experience to no avail, as the sheer volume of punches from McCaskill earned the American victory after 10 rounds in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The 33-year-old investment banker from Chicago, who endured a period of homelessness as a child, reflected on her past in victory dance. This is for the fourth grade homeless Jessica. This is for the little girl that just didn't care about what people thought about her and learned to love herself even though she was really weird. In her reaction, Brækhus, who is 38 years old, hinted of hanging up her gloves after her 36 wins and 9 knockout records was finally broken. With Sports Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.